This is a KOIN 6 News weather alert.
Okay, we have some severe weather, and Josh is standing by with a warning that was just issued.
What's the latest, Josh?
Yeah, we do have a tornado warning that is
currently in effect for parts of the shoreline. You can see it's just to the north of the Astoria area. So we are steering clear of that concern as this KOIN 6 weather alert does remain in place. But this is a potentially dangerous situation issued by the National Weather Service, the County Pacific in southwest Washington. As that tornado potentially on the ground tracks its way to the north and east, you can really see the strength of this tornado with how much lightning is associated with it. That means that the storm is quite tall, allowing for a lot of shear and rotation to happen within the inside of that storm. So we like to look at the velocity, not something we typically show you here on TV, but the greens, the reds. The green, that is the inbound winds. So the winds that are blowing towards our radar site. The red, the winds that are blowing out of it. And with this couplet here, you can see with the stark contrast between the green and the red next to each other, that is a good indication that we are getting some rotation within this single cell thunderstorm that continues to track its way to the north and east. Of course, we are keeping a close eye on all of the active weather. Again, the Portland-Vancouver metro area completely in the clear of this tornado warning coming out of the National Weather Service in Portland. Again, if you're just now joining us, this is out towards Pacific County, just to the north of the Astoria area. So Astoria, you do not need to take any shelter at this time. But speaking of which, if you are under a tornado warning, the best location to seek shelter is going to be in a basement if you have that. If not, a staircase, a hallway, an interior room away from windows, doors, and any other exterior walls is going to be a must. Now, this concern did crop up for much of our area yesterday, where we really thought that this would be a potential. Again, only that 2% chance of seeing this tornado warning cropping up. And this is kind of a rarity for us here in the Pacific Northwest because we don't typically get that indication with our radar and satellite. But the National Weather Service extending this through about 5:15. We will have more on that coming up at the top of KOIN 6 News starting at 5 o'clock. Back to you guys.
A surge in ICE arrests, totaling more than 300 in October. How local immigration rights advocates are responding. Local voters saying they'll pay for parks and police in last night's special elections. How Portland city leaders say they'll ensure tax dollars are spent wisely. And how SNAP benefit holdups are creating challenges at local food pantries.
This is a KOIN 6 News weather alert.
And our top story at 5, we do have a tornado warning, a rare one issued for one section of Oregon here.
And with that, let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart with that tornado warning.
Yeah, this is cropping up within about the past 5 to 10 minutes here. This is in southwest Washington, Pacific County. So just to the north of the Astoria area. Astoria, folks, you are not in any danger right now. It's going to continue to stay to the north. But this is a good reminder that we all need to be keeping an extremely close eye to the skies as this active weather continues to fire up here across the Pacific Northwest. The Portland National Weather Service issuing this tornado warning expected to last through the next 15 minutes. And it does appear that they have shrunk this polygon just a little bit. That's good news. That means that the threat isn't necessarily as widespread, but it is going to be just to the north of the Astoria area, kind of a prime location for these winds to really start to push their way from the southwest to the north and east. And as it kind of comes in conjunction with the mouth of the Columbia River Gorge, that's helping to get some circulation. This is something we don't always show you here on TV, but this is the velocity, our wind speeds and direction. So we've got a little bit of a couplet here. So what that means is the greens indicated just below those lightning strikes, which is also a good indicator that this is a potentially powerful storm, able to have some really high heights with this, but it is going to continue to track its way to the north and east. The green, that is inbound winds, so winds that are blowing towards the radar site. The red, that is outbound winds. So when you get those reds and the greens close together, that is a good indication that we are seeing some rotation out again for the Pacific County area in southwest Washington. The Portland-Vancouver area in the clear as far as that tornado warning goes. But if you are under the tornado warning, again, Pacific County until 5:15, we are keeping an extremely close eye on this as it continues to track its way to the north and east. And I do want to stay on this just for a little bit longer, as this is a potentially dangerous situation for our friends towards southwest Washington. As it starts to move its way over higher terrain, that's where it has the potential to kind of fall apart and disorganize. That's what we want to see, really helping to reduce that threat. Now, with those lightning strikes, you got to keep in mind, we have a good inflow, a good updraft starting to build. That's allowing for those cloud tops to really start to build higher up into the atmosphere. And as it does that, it gains strength and potentially causing that rotation. Again, as this tornado warning is expected to last through about 5:15 or so. And if you are under a tornado warning, something we don't always get to see here in the Pacific Northwest, that's where you need to be seeking shelter in the interior sections of your house. If you have a basement, that's going to be ideal, but staying away from windows, doors, and any exterior walls is going to be a must. Again, as you're joining us here at the top of the hour for KOIN 6 News at 5, a tornado warning remains in place for Pacific County just to the north of the Astoria area, set to expire at 5:15. We would like to see some weakening with this storm system as that couplet still remains intact. I'm actually going to step off camera here so we can kind of zoom in and get a little bit better of an idea. And the reason we are staying on this is it could potentially be a very dangerous situation. So again, this is in Southwest Washington, right along 101. So if you have any family or friends in that area, make sure that they are seeking shelter indoors immediately. This is not the time to try to go out, see if you can see it or take a photo. And with this latest scan with our velocity, that's where we have that good indication of that rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and just give ourselves a little bit of some view here. This green area, this is where we could potentially see that rotation. Again, the lightning strikes still abundant as this whole storm system tracks its way to the north and east. So we are expected to really see this as a potentially dangerous situation. And we are going to go ahead and try to stay on this just a little bit longer as this is a potential threat for our area. I do want to give you just a little bit more of a broader view of what's happening here across the Portland, Vancouver area, still picking up on that thunderstorm activity as it tracks its way to the north and east. This, of course, coming off the heels of some gusty, dangerous conditions found out along the coastline. Cannon Beach earlier today with a now expired severe thunderstorm. That was at 60 miles per hour. Garibaldi, nearly 70-mile-per-hour winds. Again, as this active tornado warning still remains in place for Pacific County, still seeing some strong indication that we are not only picking up on some heavier downpours with this, as I freeze it into place for us, a lot of lightning. Good indication that this is a powerful storm that could potentially be producing a tornado if it is not already on the ground. I'm going to grab just a little bit more information here from the National Weather Service. They say this is set to expire at 5:15. It could really expire earlier than that, which would be the best case scenario. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. This is coming in from the National Weather Service. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur, and tree damage is likely. So not only is this a tornado warning, but it could potentially pack some dangerous winds as well, bringing tree limbs down, creating difficult and hazardous driving conditions. So if you are under this tornado warning, again, in Pacific County in Southwest Washington, that is going to be your biggest concern. It's on U.S. Highway 101 between mile marker 24 and 37, State Route 4 between mile marker 1 and 2, if you are familiar with this area. And you can almost see, I'm going to bring back up our little pointer here. This could potentially be where that tornado is. We're seeing a little bit of a hook here, so this is going to be the point of contention as I go ahead and flip back over to our velocity. The good news is it's starting to weaken with that in and outbound flow as it starts to move its way to the most northeastern point of that tornado polygon. That is the good news, where we could potentially see this set to expire earlier than the 5:15 expiration date coming out of the National Weather Service at this point in time. Again, if you're just now joining us, the Portland, Vancouver area completely clear of any severe weather, but that tornado warning, it does remain in place north of the Astoria area as we continue to track it moving out towards the Raymond area. I think by the time it gets there, it should set to expire as it moves over some higher terrain. That's the good news. But with all of that lightning, this is a good potential and all of the active weather we've been seeing. A KOIN 6 weather alert still remains in place through the rest of this evening. Now, as we start to lose that daylight, that is going to be a positive note for us because it's going to start to reduce the energy provided by the sun. So that's going to help as we continue to see, again, this tornado warning in effect until 5:15 this evening. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I'm going to keep an extremely close eye on this warning as we move our way through the rest of the 5 o'clock hour. But for now, I'll go ahead and send things back over to Jeff and Liz.
Okay, any new developments, Josh, and we will immediately switch back to, but you're thinking you're starting to see some weakening of that?
Yes, and I mean, just even with this latest update, it looks like that polygon has now shrunk just a little bit more. So that means the National Weather Service is not extending it further to the north and east into the Raymond area. So right now you are in the clear, but stay weather aware through the rest of this evening.
All right, Josh, thank you. And the minute that tornado warning is canceled, you'll let us know. All right, Josh, thank you.
Well, now to how 300 Oregonians detained by immigration enforcement last month alone. That's including about 30 in a single day in Woodburn.
Yeah, that's according to Innovation Law Lab, which is calling it one of the largest surges in recent years, now claiming multiple lawsuits. The Department of Homeland Security